Hey guys, Zafini here, and it is no surprise that I enjoy galaxy themed stuff, whether it's my character or Pleiades or backgrounds. It's very clear that I enjoy galaxy themes. Now, a lot of you have tried to draw Zafina or draw Pleiades in the past and wanted help on how to draw galaxies, so I thought I'd make this video for you guys. Partially because I want you to be able to draw a galaxy better, if you want, and also because I am lazy and don't feel like doing anything else today, so this is what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and start the speed paint that I did so that you guys can have some idea of kind of what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing I'm actually going to do, I'm using Krita by the way, so the first thing I'm going to do is make a new canvas. After that, I'm going to make a new layer because I never like drawing on the background layer. And then I'm going to pick a dark kind of either dark blue or dark purple night color and just fill in the background. So I chose purple because Zafina's color scheme is purple. You can use dark blue like I said. Then I'm going to make another layer. And now I'm just going to go and pick a lighter purple so it fits with the background. And I'm going to use the airbrush tool to just start laying down random spots of this purple. Now with that lighter purple being the base, I am going to choose a pink color, just as a little bit of an offset. I'm also going to make the brush size a bit smaller, still using the airbrush, and kind of outline parts of the purple spots with pink, just to make this a little bit of a barrier and kind of have it fade better into the darker purple of the background. We're still on the same layer as the lighter purple spots. Next, I'm going to go in with a light blue, and I'm going to add some accents to the lighter purple and sometimes the pink, again as a little bit of an offset and to make the galaxy look a bit more vibrant. Sometimes you go back in and you have to add more of the previous color just to make it look right. That's what I'm doing with the pink here. And same thing with the purple. After that, I'm going to go in with a green. I generally use the green very sparingly because it can overpower the rest of the drawing. But it is good to kind of get that contrast in there, so I tend to use green. Now you'll notice here that I'm actually leaving a very large portion of the dark purple background visible, and that's because of the way that I like the galaxy to look, because if you look at the night sky, the Milky Way, you'll notice it's just this band of real light stars in the darkness, and so I kind of like to incorporate that into my galaxy drawing, and that'll make more sense as the drawing actually comes towards completion. Again, I'm just going in and filling in different colors just to give it a bit more depth. Now what I'm doing here is I'm picking a blur or smudge tool, depending on what program you're using, and just going in and making sure that there are no very clear barriers between the colors. They all just kind of flow into one another. Now at this point, the piece of art is actually going to start looking like a complete mess of just jumbled colors and not look good, but every piece of art goes through a terrible phase, as I like to call it, where it just looks like it's horrible. And so I, at this point, was really considering redoing the whole painting, but I was like, wait, let me see this through to completion. And yours is going to look like this too, just a bunch of random colors on a canvas. But just trust me, it'll look better as you go. You can see I'm kind of getting rid of a little bit of that green there because it was too in your face. And it was also blocking off more of that dark purple background. At this point, I realized that there wasn't enough of the dark purple background, so I actually went in and erased a good chunk of the layer that I was working on, and then just made it look more natural by blending those lines again so that you can't clearly see where one color starts and one ends. So now you're going to kind of see me go in with a few of the lighter colors just to redefine some of the borders, but not a lot of them. And again, this is just to add a bit of depth. So I created another layer, and this is going to be for the stars. Now, I know that some art programs have more abilities with this, but I went with a very sparse particle tool to just get the basic kind of starry background in there. Once that's in place, I go with the second most sparse one, and I begin kind of laying the stars down over the rest of it, going extremely bright in the darker colors and then making the stars almost not visible in the lighter colors, because the lighter it would be harder to see stars through lighter colors, because that means there's more light to block the stars out. So I make it to where you can see the stars more in the darker colors than you can in the lighter colors, and that's what I'm doing here. And notice again that I'm avoiding that dark purple area with the stars, and that's because I'm actually going to go in with a different tool in a moment and fill in that area. Now I'm going to go in with the most dense particle tool and fill in those darkest purple areas. And at first I made the stars a little bit too opaque, and so I actually went in and started kind of going in a little bit lighter and then using multiple layers of the brush so that you could actually better see the density of the stars. And then you'll see me start going in just around the edges of this starry corridor and just, well, actually I'm going to put some in the purple right there, but I'll start going in around the edges of these starry corridors just to make it blend a little bit better into the more sparse stars around it. Once I've done that, I actually start going through some of the barrier areas, so generally between the pinks and blues, or between the blues and greens, just to try to make a few more patches where the stars would be denser, because that is realistic with galaxies. You will see areas where there are a higher concentration of stars, and so just trying to put that in places where it would make sense. Now sometimes you can play around with the opacity of the stars. That's what I'm doing here. I can't remember if I decided I liked them a little less opaque. I think I did. Now what I'm doing here is there's actually a star tool in Krita, and I'm basically going to go in and add these stars throughout. So I'm starting with a little bit of a larger star size and going in and just putting these around intermittently, not necessarily with any kind of a certain pattern, just at random, so that you kind of get more of that twinkling feeling to the galaxy itself. Now I'm actually going to go in with a smaller one and just put the little smaller stars everywhere, so that it has, again, that depth, because the smaller ones are generally going to look like they're further away. Next I'm going to go in with a much larger star and just add a very few of them around, just to kind of make it look like those stars are real close to the front, and maybe give it a little bit of character. I went with a little bit of a smaller one just so I could do the kind of second star to the right thing from Peter Pan, because I'm a nerd. Again, I'm playing with the opacity to see what I like more. Now, at this point, I was thinking everything looked a little bit too vibrant, which can happen sometimes, but it's all preference. So I actually went in and added a very thin layer of black with the airbrush tool over top of everything, just to make it a little less in your face. And sometimes I will concentrate that darker color around the already dark colors just to make things stand out a little more. sometimes I'll put it over the whole thing depending on how vibrant certain colors are. After that, for me, I know when I want to pull something together, I add a foreground, which I've shown in previous Galaxy things. I tried to use the mountain tool that Krita has, but I just was not liking it. So I ended up just drawing in kind of a hill here with just the basic tool in black, just so you have a silhouette. But I'll go in with a kind of leaf or vine type brush to add, you know, just like there's a greenery on the mountains themselves. You don't have to do this. I was trying to decide which one I liked. Now I did the greenery on a separate layer, and I ended up actually duplicating the layer and changing the color to where it was slightly lighter and a little bit more purple, so that I could put it behind the first layer and move it slightly so it would look like a shadow. So that's what I'm doing right here, or maybe the illuminated part of the leaves, but that's what I'm doing right here. So at this point, I added in a little bit more black to mess with the vibrancy of the background. And then I just signed off on the drawing itself, putting my signature in the bottom right corner, and yeah, that is how you draw a galaxy.